Eula Lawrence, Spindrift Knight of the Knights of Favonius, also known as the End User License Agreement, just kidding, was first released in Genshin Patch 1.5 nearly 3 years ago on May 18, 2021. At that time, there was no news for Eula. She had never appeared in any part of Genshin's story or gameplay before.
誰でしょうか?
She literally just dropped out of the sky, quite similar to how Kirara was in patch 3.7. Since then, she had become a meme, not once, not twice, but 3 times. First was for a line for wanting to swear vengeance all the time.
Vengeance will be mine.
Second, for a cute cat meme after her sneeze. And third, for being the longest character to not get another rerun since her first rerun in November 24th, 2021, which is 50 whole banners before she got her rerun again for patch 3.8. In comparison, Yoimiya had 3 reruns, and Yoimiya was released in patch 2.0, 2 patches later than Eula. Anyway, since her release in patch 1.5, Eula is since then still the only 5-star physical damage DPS. So how much has she changed since then? Is she better, same, or worse with new characters being released? Before we begin the video proper, can I just say that 96.2% of you who watch my videos aren't actually subscribed. So please do consider subscribing, as I will be posting Genshin or Honkai videos weekly. It would really help me out in growing my channel. Thank you in advance. Without further ado, my name is ChargeCoin, and let's begin the video. Let's first talk about Eula's kit. I'm not gonna go super in depth like all the other YouTubers, since you probably already know how she functions. After all, she has been out for almost 3 years already. Anyway, you use your normal attacks to deal physical damage, while you tap the E skill to do a cryo damage slash. You can gain up to 2 Grim Heart stacks in this manner. After which, you can hold the E skill to do a cryo damage slash that consumes the Grim Heart stack and reduces physical and cryo resistance of the enemy. Her burst is of course the main topic, used by many YouTubers to show high damage nukes. For example, I've seen people do up to 2 million damage or more with her burst. But anyway, her burst is basically whereby she will do a cryo slash, and that will create a Lightfall sword. This sword will follow her for 7 seconds, and will increase in damage for every normal attack, elemental skill, or elemental burst hit on enemies. After 7 seconds, or when you swap from Eula to another character, the Lightfall sword will explode, dealing physical AoE damage. Let's first talk about the good pointers of Eula. With the release of characters such as the Raiden Shogun, whose E skill can allow electro damage on the enemy for every hit by any character, it allows Eula to trigger Superconduct a lot more easily in order to reduce the enemy's physical resistance. As Eula has a high burst cost and very poor energy regeneration for herself, Raiden helps to improve that with her elemental burst by helping Eula to recharge hers. Moreover, with the release of physical support Mika in March 21st, 2023, it has provided Eula with increased attack speed and physical crit damage if you have Mika C6. Zhongli also provides valuable support to Eula so that she can continue hitting enemies, getting up the stacks during her burst phase without fear of being interrupted. All of these are quality of life team compositions that significantly help to increase Eula's issue with energy regeneration and to increase her overall attack speed and damage. Now that we are done with the good, let's move on to the bad. The issue here is that there are still many problems that plague Eula since her initial release that are still currently present with her kit. Firstly, most of the enemies and bosses in the game have high physical resistances. For example, all the robot enemies, such as the Perpetual Mechanical Array, and other enemies such as the Mitachols, have higher physical resistances. Secondly, physical damage does not bring much to the table in Genshin currently, especially in a meta with many elemental shields that require elemental damage to take down. For example, just take a look at the current Abyss lineup. It's full of enemies that have elemental shields. Eula would definitely not be a good fit for this. Don't believe me? Just take a look at this horrible run for yourself. Okay fine, let me spare you the agony. Third, Eula is actually quite difficult to play. If you want to do proper damage, you have to remember the steps to deal huge damage. And this is how it goes. You first need to tap her E once, then use her burst, which refreshes her E. Once her burst starts, you need to tap her E immediately, then continue hitting the enemy and hold E once it has recharged to consume the Grim Heart stacks to lower the enemy's physical resistance. Then finally, let the Lightfall Sword explode to deal huge damage. Honestly, this is an extremely complicated playstyle which you may not remember in the heat of battle. Other characters like Hu Tao, all you have to do is press E and you can attack the enemies with high reaction damage. It's so much simpler than Eula's kit. Eula is also generally difficult to use for non-boss enemies. You want to use her burst considering how much damage it does, however the issue is that either most of the smaller mobs are dead before you can even complete the 7 seconds for a Lightfall Sword to explode, which leaves you running awkwardly to the enemies in hope that the sword doesn't explode yet, or the enemies are too far spread out for the Lightfall Sword's AoE damage. Of course, you can argue that you can cut short her burst by swapping, but this is also hard to time. If you do not hit the enemies enough, the burst will not do enough damage. If you swap too late, the enemies are all dead. On top of that, because of the 7-second duration, it becomes a lot harder to time the burst explosion. If the boss moves at the last second, you'll get 0 burst damage. While all the characters in Genshin can miss their burst, but theirs is just a short 2 to 4 seconds and is hence less likely to miss than Eula's. What's more, for the aforementioned 80 energy cost, if you use Eula's burst and the boss gets defeated, with no one for Raiden to use her burst on, Eula's energy will remain low and it is hard for her to get it back up by the next fight. Lastly, we previously mentioned about characters such as Mika, Raiden and Zhongli. If you do not have these characters, your Eula's potential will unfortunately be limited. She will find it hard to get back her energy, and she will not get the crit damage boost that Mika can provide. As such, Eula's teams are pretty expensive to build overall, and she might not even have a spot on your team considering the meta right now. In conclusion, honestly I put Eula in her very first banner in 2021 because I was a fan of her Japanese voice actress, Sato Rina. She voiced the main character in my very first anime, A Certain Scientific Railgun, as Misaka Mikoto. Since then, Eula is still to me a good and fun character, especially for those huge damage nuke showcases. However, if you do not have the right supports, or are contemplating for other characters such as those upcoming in Fontaine, I suggest you to skip Eula and save your gems. Genshin ultimately is an elemental reaction focused game, and unfortunately, physical damage does not really have a place right now. And with that, we've come to the end of today's video. If you found the video helpful, or you just enjoyed the video in general, do consider leaving a like, comment, or subscribe for more videos. I post regular Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail videos, and it will be great to see you in the next video as well. Thank you and bye bye!